Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and we're going to look at the daily transit and of the week. The transit field is actually the uh, transits of the positions of the different planets in the current moment. So we have the Sun enter gate 30. This week, we're now in the fifth line, and 70% of the conditioning is Sun Earth conditioning. So this will be the main energy in the air. And setting the scenery on which everything is going to actually happen during this week. So the Sun entered the 30th gate on Monday, and it will be there till Saturday. And the 30th gate is the gate of the clinging fire, the gate of feelings, freedom recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate, as a fate. So the gate of feeling is the emotional equivalent of the mental realization. It's like a mirror to the 18th gate, the gate of correction. And it is the gate of the conditioning of the parents, while here the 30th gate is the gate of the fates. So the feeling is a thirst for destiny and a hunger for change. And just as judgment, here part of the channel of judgment, leads to the conceptual potential to correct, the recognized feeling, part of the channel of the recognition, a design of focused energy. But here we have the recognition of the potential for change that takes place in the wave. And the recognized feeling leads to the conceptual potential for that change. However, there are differences because in the judgment, the capacity to correct that takes place in the now or not. It's a logical channel. Here we have an abstract channel, part of the sensing circuit, and part of the stream of feelings. So there is no truth in the now. Here we have an emotional wave that moves from pain to hope and back again. And there is a true potential in the emotional awareness, which lies between these highly energetic poles of pain and hope. And it is important to realize that only emotional awareness has a direct access to the throat that is by its very nature energized. The feeling for change must move through the wave, and the feeling of pain which initiates the yearning for change and the cursing of the fates. The feeling for hope which initiates the yearning for change and praise to the fates. And here is the potential awareness that can recognize the feeling and leaves its outcome in the hands of the fates. So when you're correct in your own geometry, then the fates will be on your side. And this portal, this gate, this gate, the 30th gate, somehow it shows us that it's not everything is up to the fates at the end. It shows us the lack of control we have at the end. We may have the yearning, the desire, the passion, the maybe not exactly passion here, it's more in 3955, but here we have yearning, desire, burning for something new, burning for change, and indeed freedom recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate. The fates, when they're on your side, then it all can look very hopeful. And when fates are not on your side, everything can look quite desperate. And it is actually showing us that fates are just another name for letting go on the stream of life, and that the mind cannot really foresee and strategize and come up with a plan, no matter how much dreams you have. And the 41st gate, which is the harmonic, on the other side, is about starting new things. And the 30th gate is, so here we have the gate of contraction, limitation of resources, which maximizes the development of potential. So here we're dreaming for those new things. And on the other side, we have the fates, which decide those new things. And it's important that we concentrate at one feeling at a time and not at the chaos of feelings and wanting to do everything. So being concentrated on one thing at a time, waiting out clarity, part of the emotional center, so there is no truth in the now, and waiting out the wave. And this is also a projector channel, part of a projected channel, so waiting for recognition and invitation at the end, before jumping in those new things, of course, according to your strategy and authority. And especially right now, when we have the channel 3536, the channel of transitoriness, design of jack of all trades, which is a manifestor, emotional manifestor channel, there is quite a danger that we're going to just jump into things, waiting for, actually not waiting for clarity, but expecting some new feelings to come out of the whole thing that will make us feel alive and feel something. And if you're on the high end of that wave, open to taking a lot of yes answers and positive having a positive feeling and affirming things and agreeing to things, and then in a few days when the wave changes, turns out that those were not the correct things. Or the other way around, if the wave is down and it's in the pain phase, everything looks not so good, and everything bad looks twice as bad. So actually not accepting invitations and seeing things dull and painful and not good, and exaggerating on this part. And later it can be that you feel this was actually something for you and you declined, and it was just because you didn't have any clarity. So we have the sun here in the clinging fire, and today it's the 5th line day, so it's the most exalted, and it's called irony, recognition and dedication to transitory goals, where we have the strength derived from knowledge and experience that 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward. And each new feeling brings back an old feeling before progress can take place. And the other side, the anger engendered by the irony, frustration with its limitations, and a desire to eliminate the entire process. Frustration and anger with the old feelings brought into the emotional awareness with each new experience. And yesterday, we were in the fourth line, burnout, an unrealistic pace that begs misfortune, a compulsive and hyperactive nature that carries all the earmarks of burnout but doesn't necessarily arrive at it, and a positive outcome is often assigned through analysis. Highly energized feelings that may lead to emotional collapse, or the uncontrollable expansion with the inevitable bursting of the bubble. Uncontrollable feelings and accompanying emotional outbursts. So yesterday, if you experienced around you unrealistic pace, emotional outbursts, highly energized feelings, which can lead to emotional collapse, this is what was going on. Then we had the day before yesterday, the third line, resignation, the acceptance of what is, the awareness and manifestation of the law of regeneration, the laws of karma, reincarnation and resurrection, the feeling to accept what is. That's a good feeling. And the other side, the tendency by its very knowledge to encourage or avoid despair, the positive or negative feelings which come with acceptance of what is. Then the second line, 2 days ago, pragmatism, the balance between extremes, the productive application of energy without wastage, not wasting energy of feelings. And then the first line, composure, balance in the face of disorder, the maximization of limitation in all cases, stability through feelings, no matter what the situation. And tomorrow will be the sixth line day, enforcement, the discipline to maintain right action, the assertiveness to purge the inferior while accepting to lead the weak, the strength to eliminate negative feelings. And the other side, an inherent peacefulness that all too often will abide the presence of inferior forces, a lack of strength in eliminating negative feelings. So this is what is going on in the background frequency. A lot of feelings, people wanting to act on those feelings without any clarity, diving into new stuff that they have dreamed of, hoping that the fates will be good and supporting. And we have on the other side the gate of the perseverance, or of the yes, of the saying yes, the gate of saying yes. So it's actually the abysmal, the gate of perseverance, the deep within the deep, persistence despite difficulties has its inevitable rewards. But it's the gate of saying yes. So saying yes to new feelings, saying yes to new experiences, saying yes to the fates, no matter what they bring, with no clarity. And it's in the detriment. So we have here today, we have the tendency to bite off more than one can chew, failed ambition, saying yes, overextending one's resources and failing to persevere. Imagine now if you don't have the clarity and you act just under the push of the program, how many troubles and how many things you can start with absolute chaos and failed ambition at the end, and the tendency to bite off more than you can chew. What was happening yesterday, it was in the fourth line, the 29th gate. So the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So this is where the 30th, the clinging fire is grounding. So it is where it looks for stability. So imagine the stability is in the wisdom to use the simplest and most direct approach to solve difficulties, and the power to commit oneself to the simplest and most direct process. Or the other side, simplicity and directness, all too often seen as inharmonic and aesthetically crude. The power of directness often offends others. And when you did not respond, it's in the sacral. Third line, 2 days ago, evaluation. In this context, properly assessed in inaction. Despite the urge and cost of inaction, the knowledge that it is something better to fight another day, the power to wait, which would be great. Or the other side, a preference for withdrawal in principle with the little regard for effect, the inability to make commitments, the power of caution. So the power to wait and be cautious despite the urge, and the overcautiousness which blocks you from doing things. So properly assessed or improperly assessed inaction. Then the second line, assessment. 3 days ago, persistence tempered by caution, the power of sustainment as a guiding light, saying yes, and the power of persevere. And the other side, a tendency to overcautiousness when persistence is perceived as adding to rather than ending disharmony. Caution in saying yes when perseverance leads to disharmony. Very second line is quite the disharmony and harmony is something that really resonates deep. So when there is disharmony, there can be tempered caution in saying yes. And on the other side, the power of sustainment as a guiding light. And then we hit the first gate, the draftee, the ability to adapt to struggle when necessary, but not as a permanent state. On one side, we have the innate nature to apply energy in times of war and peace, the power to persevere when necessary, but not generally. And the other side, a deep impressionability whose mark from times of struggle may make a return to normal conditions extremely difficult. Hesitation in making commitments based on past experience. Again, we have either hesitation to take commitment or the power to persevere where necessary and take commitment in times of war and peace. The ability to adapt. So the draftee, the assessment, the evaluation, the directness, the overreach today. And tomorrow we have the sixth line, confusion, the state that exists when momentum outstrips awareness. Driving blind and given Mars energy and determination offer blind luck. The power to persevere that makes no sense. And on the other side, a tendency in confusion to withdraw rather than accept the condition and continue to persevere. The power in confusion to caution rather than saying yes. So the momentum outstrips awareness. Either you're aware and you go for it, or you're aware that you don't want to go for it, or the momentum takes over and you can be confused to withdraw or be determined and get often blind luck, which makes no sense. So this could be not saying yes, actually, or not engaging yourself. It's the sixth line it's disengagement. Only the very correct things would be which are perceived as the correct things can take them off the roof and involved. So in those days, we have emotional fiery energy, for feeling. And we also have Saturn in the 30th gate, in the burnout. And this is where we're going to be limited in unrealistic pace that begs misfortune. So, and this will be taking place until sometimes in March. So, yeah, until the 8th of March. So, limitation will be exactly in keeping unrealistic tempo and either be highly energized or uncontrollable in the feelings, and emotional outbursts are there, which will be limiting us in everything can be, because Saturn is about discipline and limitation. So beware of unrealistic tempo, beware of not waiting out that clarity and jumping in things without actually giving possibilities for the fates to be on your side and to support that dreams. And at the same time, we have the nodes in the 27th and 28th gate. So it's about nourishment on one side. And we have it in the 5th line, the executor, the ability to distribute effectively the resources of others. It's part of the defense circuit. So it's about the genetic imperative to reproduce and take care of the young, or not, or totally not being able to take care. So either the gifted and principled agent of distribution of the good sense and ability to find one, the power and strength to care for the resources of others, or a restrictive nature that hampers distribution or the seeking of advice and assistance. Weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. This is going to be the setting. And on the other side, we have preponderance of the great, the gate of the game player. It's in the spleen. So we have here the transitoriness of power and influence. And it's about knowing what's healthy and unhealthy, and knowing when to take risk or not. But here we have the abuse of trust, the manipulation of the collective that, while putting one faction against the other, does not directly support or reject either. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others, or as we can say, rule, divide and rule. Or the other side, the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces and its attendant destabilization of the whole. The intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken and its destabilizing effect on others. So alliances might be broken or made in order to gain some advancement, but it's in the line of treachery and the abuse of trust. And this is what is going to be going on around us. Taking unnecessary risks, and at the same time, nourishing or not nourishing, caring or not caring. So the environment is also quite challenging. It will put a lot of questions about needs and how needs can be nourished, and nourishment and taking care, supporting, and being defensive of the resources for survival of the species, and not only resources. We're also here, we talk about everything needed to ensure the prolonging of the species. So it's all about the needs, and all about the on the material plane, and all about the support and social support as well. It's also about education. So everything which will be part of the survival, and not only survival, but being viable, being able to afterwards turn around and take care of yourself. So you take care of your kid, but you invest in them so that they can actually find ways to take care of themselves. So it's not only about taking care of others. Actually, the first line of the 27th gate, and we can see it here, it's selfishness. It's about the ego-driven first law of caring for oneself, which is not necessarily at the expense of others. It's just the power to take care of oneself first. And it can be the other way, envy, and the power of selfishness that is manifested through envy. But overall, nourishment is to take care. It can be selfishness, self-sufficiency, greed, generosity, and it can be the executor, and it can be wariness. The point is that nourishment and taking care will be themes, and we see it now with those earthquakes which happened in Turkey and Syria of 7.6 or 7.5 on magnitude on the Richter scale, made so much devastation. There are more than 30,000 victims. And we see that in the surrounding, we're talking about nourishment and taking care. And now we see that the efforts of the saviors are not anymore so much into finding living souls, because the chances are too little. Now all the efforts are to find homes, new homes for those 2 million people who are left to struggle and be left to the fates. But on the other hand, the transitoriness of power and influence is something we can also be noticing. You, in one moment, you have all the power and influence, and in the next moment, it's gone. And this is what natural disasters tell us about it. They, in a way, they shake us and they shock us, only to remind us how small we are, and how one moment can make all the difference between the previous moment. And power is transitory. Stature is transitory. Only change is something permanent. If you think about it, something which is always there, change. Then we have the moon in the 54th gate. So this is the driving force, the focus of the mind, and it's in the marrying maiden, in the gate of the drive. We're talking about here to advance in the ladder of success, to be ambitious. So the focus of the mind is ambitiousness. And look at how many fifth lines there are at this moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fifth lines, and 1, 2 second lines. So there is a lot of projection going on. Projection that the fates will rule out the right feelings, being ironic, projecting overreach and the tendency to bite off more, or projecting that you're a person who will bite off more. So natural paranoia. Or it can be projecting caring and projecting the ability to distribute effectively the resources, and then it might turn out it's totally not the truth. So projecting that you can take care, and it turns out at the end you cannot take care. But we're going to see that, of course, afterwards. Projecting treachery, projecting magnanimity. We have here the natural authority and actualizing spirit that in a position of power can have genuine and fruitful relationships with the less advantaged, as long as they are in service and make no demands. The energy for actualizing that despite this power fuels fruitful relationships with others. And there is no polarity. So the 54th gate is actually can be a very mystical gate, because we have the fourth line here. It's the most mystical. It's endarkment, enlightenment of lines, and it's in the material way. So here we talk about exactly about that if materially things are not good, they're not okay, there is no there is no spiritual awareness, there is no space for spiritualism, there is no space for mysticism and for faith even, because if you're hungry and if you're not okay on the material plane, if you have nowhere to live, you have to first help that before you can be spiritual, before you can be taking care of your emotional needs, if you want. Playing an instrument, dancing, be artistic, or be really spiritual and growing and personal development. Well, if you are hungry, there is no sense in those things, because your tummy is not interested in the spiritual experience before it's full. So that's the magnanimity about. The natural authority and actualizing spirit with the less advantaged can be. So this is where we're gonna have where the focus will be, the mental focus on material advancement and material ambition. Then we have Mercury, the communication and thinking in the 19th gate about the needs. Here we have it in the second line, service. This is the gate of approach, the gate of wanting, the gate of needs. So the themes, we will hear a lot of talking about needs, what we need, what the tribe needs, that all things are interrelated. It is apparent, and they should be manifested through the action of approach. And being of service, the dedication of personal resources as a result of external contact, protracted indecision, but given the nature of this position, eventual compliance, the need to be wanted that will eventually turn its energy to service. So there will be a lot of dedication to bringing what the tribe might need, and especially talking again in the light of the past events, this is what we're going to be communicating all over the news about those people needing what they need in order to make it through. And of course, also oversensitivity to rejection when they cannot be helped, etc., etc. Then Venus, the values and relating, is in the 36th gate, fifth line, the underground, the gate of crisis. So the moral values are in perfected survival regardless of conditions. Immunity to crisis, both generator and survivor. A nervousness, that's the other side, that can lead to self-betrayal. Self-betraying nervousness in times of crisis. So we can see that self-betrayal in times of crisis, going to save others without thinking of yourself, or the perfected survival regardless of conditions and being able to survive. So a lot of projection going on crisis and expectations on how crisis will turn out to be, and maybe that a lot of practicality will also be in the air of how to deal with these crises that are happening. And indeed, instead of looking for more people under the ruins where there is no chance that they survived, almost it's close to zero, but now to concentrate, be practical, and concentrate on helping those which survived, helping them rebuild their lives and rebuild their homes. And we have also Neptune for a long time in the 36th gate until year 2025, so April. So a long time we have, and especially with Neptune, where it's under veil, it's illusion, and we don't know exactly what's going on. So the best thing is to just surrender to it. And it's in the second line, support the assistance to others in times of decline. The application of imagination to schemes which benefit others, feelings that can benefit others in times of crisis. So we have both here. Then we have in Jupiter law and protection in the gate of following, the gate of opinion, in Bodhisattva, the perfected following one with and the same as perfected leading, the tendency on the perfected path that it is a straight line that ends rather than a circle, where understanding is achieved, the possibility of having the opinion that there is nothing else to learn, and B, withdraw because of that. But this is what our law and protection will be in the gate of opinions. So there'll be a lot of opinions going on, not necessarily expressed is the sixth line. So it should be asked, and it's also projected channel, so recognized and asked before sharing the opinions to get the perfect following. And you first must learn to follow before you can lead. We already discussed the 30th gate in burnout. Then we have the unusualness, chaos, and innovation, the second gate, third line, the patience, the teacher that never stops being a student. For the revolutionary, patience is a vice, higher knowing that cannot wait and demands expression. So not waiting, but demanding expression under emotional influence. And it's a manifested channel, so very fast you can manifest things, initiate things, make them happen, say things faster than you wanted, and starting things which are under emotional chaos. And so you might either get the right direction or not. And patience is always a virtue. And of course, we have Pluto in the truth, transformation, and psychology in the gate of limitation. The 60th gate, the gate of acceptance. Accepting limitations is the first step to transcending them. It's in the third line, conservatism, enlightened, self-interest that naturally handles restrictions and limitations, ensuring identity and security, the energy to maintain identity and security despite limitations, or ego-gratifying self-interest that ignores limitations and suffers predictably, energy which ignores limitations and pays the price. So we have definitely tendency to try to compensate for the limitations, pay the price for that, or just accept them and find a way around them. Part of the cross of limitation, that's what it is. It's a lot of times things just don't work. They don't come up the way we expect, we want them to, and this causes us limitations. And then progress can be finding way through and beyond those limitations, or not. It's always, we are binary. We live in a duality, so it's always the two sides. So this is what is going on. We have almost the entire, actually until yesterday, we had the entire, the 41st gate was in. So we had the entire stream of feelings. It was about dreaming about new things and having the power to start. And if you did that with emotional distability and no clarity, you would start things that were not correct. And as a generator, you need to respond to life, to outside view, stimulus, people, etc., to the universe itself, to start new things. If you're a projector, it's about being recognized and invited into those things. And if you're a manifester, and especially with emotional, even if not emotional, you first have to inform, but with emotional manifestation, you first need clarity. So this is something which the days that are now and for quite some time, the 35-36 is going to be active actually till the 23rd of February. So be aware, guys, that a lot of crazy stuff can be started which are incorrect and which will put us in a lot of crisis. And yeah, and the most important are not for us, are not ours to live through. So be aware that this is going on in the air, a lot of emotional energy and possibility for expression. So we have here potential and possibility and expression in the air as energy which can be pushing your not self to act out of wanting to feel something new, just for the sake of new feelings, just for the sake of new experiences, just for the sake of doing it and sharing it with the rest of the world and with the others. It's an abstract sensing circuit which is here to share. So don't get yourself into trouble, guys, unless your strategy and authority say so. Then it will be the correct trouble or the correct lessons. So your strategy will help you with the resistance in life, and your inner authority is your personal navigation tool as whether something is for you or not, despite all the emotionality and pressure and potential to actually express without clarity and not in the right timing. especially with whether you're with an open emotional center or open throat, or you have no connection with your energy with the throat. Right now, you will be the planets are giving that missing link in, of course, nothing's missing, which is a possibility to be interpreted by the not self mind as something that is missing and should be compensated. So be aware and know that this is only the transit field. It's only the weather, and this too shall pass. Have a great week, and you hear from me soon. On Sunday, we already entered the 55th gate, so we stay in the emotional center, and it's going to be emotionally charged with the gate of the spirit, and abundance being strictly a question of spirit. So you'll hear more about that from me. And fellow travelers, travel on your own journey, not somebody else's. This is what human design gives us as a possibility. To be on our own personal movie, journey, path, on the least resistance, where we can find success, satisfaction, freedom, and surprise. Talk to you soon. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. And I'll be back again. Like and subscribe for more. Bye for now.